Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy is headed to Washington, D.C. in what will be his first trip abroad since the war with Russia began. Well, details of the visit have been kept under wraps, but we do know that he will be holding talks with U.S. President Joe Biden. Mr. Zelenskyy is hoping to strengthen Ukraine's resilience and defense capabilities. In a post on Twitter, he says he will address Congress later today, and he's also expected to hold talks with top U.S. national security officials. The White House says President Biden will announce a significant new package of security assistance to Kyiv, which includes Patriot air defense missiles, and that the visit underscores the U.S. commitment to support Ukraine for as long as it takes. Ukraine's presidential aide has also described the trip as both extremely significant and symbolic, adding that it will disprove Russian attempts to show that relations between the U.S. and Ukraine are cooling. The Kremlin says it expects nothing good to come out of the trip and that Russia sees no chance of peace talks. The spokesperson also warned that continued Western arms supplies to Ukraine would only result in aggravating the conflict. And for more, let's go to Simon Marks. He joins us live from Washington, D.C. So Simon, senior U.S. officials suggesting and this huge, enormous aid package is in the works, including those Patriot missile systems that Ukraine has been asking for so long now. Tell us, how do you think this support will transform Kyiv's war effort?
Well, the United States argues, of course, that America and its NATO partners are in it for the long term in terms of providing the Ukrainians with continued military assistance and also humanitarian assistance. And this is going to be another massive package of both. Of course, what President Volodymyr Zelenskyy wants for Christmas, and frankly, he wanted it much earlier in the year, is for those Patriot missile defense systems to be handed over to Kyiv. And we've certainly seen over the course of the last few days here a determination by the Biden administration to get that done as quickly as possible, certainly well ahead of what they believe is going to be a pretty relentless spring offensive by Russian military forces once the long, cold winter already underway in Ukraine advances. So this is going to be an opportunity for President Zelenskyy in very dramatic style. I mean, it's remarkable that they were able to keep the lid on this up until almost the Ukrainian leader departed Kyiv to make the arduous and somewhat risky from a security perspective journey to the U.S. capital. The Ukrainian leader is going to get an opportunity in person to thank President Biden for the support that he's given so far. He'll make a speech to a joint session of Congress here tonight, in which I think he will challenge Congress to continue supporting Ukraine as this war continues. And in terms of the imagery that this visit is going to generate, the Ukrainian leader sitting in the Oval Office side by side with President Biden, meeting other top security and foreign policy officials here in Washington, D.C., holding a joint press conference with President Biden and then making that journey for what looks like it's going to be a prime-time TV address to a joint session of Congress. Remarkable imagery for both the Ukrainian and American leaders to close out the year with and underscore on the world stage the mutual commitment that they have made to one another, and particularly the largesse that the United States continues to bestow on Ukraine and its military.
Well, we hear, Ukraine insisting that, support is not cooling. But, the fact, as you've mentioned, that Zelenskyy is such a mammoth task for him, security concerns and all of that going to Washington. And the fact that he's making this appeal for help in person, I mean, what more can we read into that?
Well, the timing of this is absolutely critical. I mean, in many ways, politically, it's a now or never moment. First of all, President Biden wants to get those Patriot missile defense systems moving while the current Congress is still sitting. And remember that on January the 3rd, the new Congress will be sworn in, and it's in that Congress that Republicans will have a majority in the House of Representatives, with some of them already making it absolutely clear they are going to vote against any efforts to continue providing Ukraine with security assistance. They excoriate the Biden administration. Some of the more right-wing members of the Republican caucus in the House of Representatives saying that President Biden cares more about Russia's border with Ukraine than he cares about America's border with Mexico and its neighbors to the south. So the Biden administration wants President Zelenskyy himself to use the bully pulpit that he will be afforded in Congress in a few hours' time when he makes that speech to a joint session of Congress to try and change minds and sway opinions, particularly among those more right-wing Republicans that say they intend to oppose any fresh aid for Ukraine and audit every single dollar that the Biden administration has already spent there. So the timing of this visit coming in the dying days of the 117th Congress, where Democrats are in control in the House of Representatives, definitely not coincidental.
Many thanks for that report. Simon Marks reporting to us live from Washington, D.C.